Hello, welcome friends. Welcome to another video of Quick Biology. Today I am going to discuss about female reproductive system. And in this female reproductive system, you can find it very important for the NEET as well as for higher secondary examination. Female reproductive system consists of mostly different types of organs, different types of cells and different types of tubules in there. So you can already see that there is a diagram or histological diagram of female reproductive system and of ovary. So ovary is the primary reproductive organ of female body, and there are another oocytes, fallopian tubes, uterus, vagina, vulva, Bartholin glands. These glands or structures are the accessory reproductive structures. The primary or the main reproductive structure of female body is ovary. So ovary, here if we can see a diagram of ovary, it is the diagram of ovary and it has several layers or coverings in its body, and these are the coverings are first the mesovarium. So mesovarium is the peritoneal covering or the double layered peritoneal covering of the body which protects or which attaches the ovary with the body. So this is the mesovarium. It is the outermost layer of ovary. Next one is germinal epithelium. The red colored layer here is the germinal epithelium. This is the germinal epithelial layer. And germinal epithelium layer actually produces the germ cells or the oogonia from there. So oogonia is produced from germinal epithelium. And ovary is actually attached with body. It is not, it is a hanging structure. So here you can see it is a hanging structure from the wall of the body, and the hilus is the area through which different types of nerves and blood vessels enter or veins exit from the ovary. So these are the outer layers, and inside we can see there is cortex and inner medulla. The outer cortex have dense connective tissue layers in there, and this connective tissue layer supports the basal epithelium of the ovary. And after that there are different types of follicles are there. These are the follicles: primary, secondary, tertiary, graffian. These are the different types of follicle you can find in the cortex area. The outer layer also consists of tunica albuginea. You can find it also in the testes. Testes also have tunica albuginea. So tunica albuginea is also as a part of the covering, or you can say it is a part of connective tissue which covers the female reproductive ovary. Now you can find when what is happening inside the ovary. So inside the ovary there are huge amount of reproductive cells are at first produced in the body, but follicular atresia or the degeneration of the follicles occurs also. About 2 million of primordial follicles first produced inside the ovary. So these are the primordial or primary follicles which are 2 millions in number, but up to reaching the puberty, when a female body reaches puberty, about 50% of the primary or primordial follicles degenerate, and the rest of the follicles also gradually degenerated, and only maximum 450 ovarian follicles can mature. So this is the scenario of female reproductive system. And you can see that in female reproductive structures there are only one follicle in the menstrual cycle later you can see that only one follicle will mature and one ovum can be released from the body, and rest of the follicles will be degenerated, or it is called follicular atresia. Now we will look at the structure of the different types of follicles which are found in ovary. So this one is the primary follicle or primordial follicle, and these primordial follicles are the primary structures which is surrounded by a thecal cells. This black layer is the thecal cells. Inside there are several granulosa cells, and the inner one, the red one, is the ovum, or you cannot say it ovum, it is the developing oocyte. So the oogonia will gradually mature into primary and secondary oocyte, and finally it will form the oocyte and into ovum. But the maturation to the ovum is not completed until fertilization. So now we can say that this is the oocyte. So during oogenesis, during the different stages of oogenesis, at first some ovum and group of cells comes out of the germinal epithelium. So from this germinal epithelium a group of cells comes out. Only one single cell forms ovum, and the outer cells which is surrounded the ovum forms the granulosa cells, which actually gives the ovum maturation or nutrition, gives the ovum nutrition. This is the primary follicle, and inside the primary follicle you can find theca layer and the zona pellucida and the granulosa cells. The theca layer is not differentiated into theca interna and theca externa in primary follicle. Next, the primary follicle will mature into secondary follicle, and inside the secondary follicle you can see there is a cavity is formed, and this cavity is formed by the hyaluronic acid secretion by the granulosa cells, and it will form the antrum, and in the antrum, inside the antrum there is a fluid is there. So this is not an empty space, a fluid is there, and the name of the fluid is liquor folliculi. So liquor folliculi and antrum will be generated in the secondary follicle. And the cumulus euphorus. The cumulus euphorus is a layer through which the ovum or the oocyte is attached with the granulosa cells. So this region will form cumulus euphorus. So the primary structure of cumulus euphorus will be formed at the secondary follicle. Now secondary follicle will form the tertiary follicle. So this is the tertiary follicle, and in tertiary follicle, during the formation of tertiary follicle, the ovum will also undergo meiosis. So it is I am telling that this is not ovum, it is actually the primary oocyte which will undergo first meiotic division or meiosis 1, and it will remain arrested in the diplotin stage of meiosis 1. So and the meiosis 1 and diplotin stage is now over, and meiosis 1 is completed, and one polar body will be released. So before, at the primary and secondary follicular stage, the ovum is arrested at the diplotin stage, and during the formation of tertiary follicle, the ovum complete the meiosis 1 and forms a polar body and secondary oocyte. So now we can tell it the secondary oocyte. Next, the cells of the tertiary follicle will mature, and these maturational phases actually occurs due to the hormone FSH. The FSH hormone stimulates the maturation of the graffian of the primary follicle to graffian follicle. So the completely mature follicle is called the graffian follicle, and the graffian follicle have theca externa, theca interna, corona radiata, zona pellucida, and the vitelline membrane. The vitelline membrane is the outer membrane of ovum, and a perivitelline space is created between the zona pellucida and the oocyte. We will talk about that later during the structure of ovum, and we will tell that. Now the graffian follicle is formed with the help of FSH, and this FSH will stimulate the thicker cells to produce the hormone estrogen, and estrogen will further help to mature the graffian follicle or the tertiary follicle to graffian follicle. So FSH stimulates the estrogen hormone, and estrogen also helps in the meiotic division of the primary oocyte into secondary oocyte. So now we can call it secondary oocyte. Now with the help of FSH secretion and estrogen hormone secretion, it stimulates LH secretion, and due to LH secretion a stigma develops, a thickening at the region which is touching the wall of the ovary is formed, and this thickening is called stigma. And from stigma, the stigma will be, you can see the stigma now, and the stigma will gradually burst out due to the increased pressure inside the graffian follicle. So the pressure inside the graffian follicle will be increased, and the ovum will be fallen out of the graffian follicle. So ovum is now gets out of the graffian follicle. So the remaining portion is now called corpus hemorrhagicum, and the process by which the ovum gets out of the graffian follicle is known as ovulation. So what is now remaining? The remaining is the granulosa cells, which will change its biochemical property with the help of LH. Now this occurs at the 10 to 14 days during menstrual cycle with the help of LH. So LH is responsible for ovulation. Now this structure will form corpus hemorrhagicum or corpus hemorrhagic. This is the corpus hemorrhagic, and corpus hemorrhagic will gradually have lutein like pigments, yellow colored pigments will store it inside it. So it will form corpus luteum now. So corpus luteum is nothing but stored lutein granules inside it. So it will form corpus luteum, which have lutein granules inside it. It is capable of producing the hormone progesterone. So this side of follicles, the primary, secondary, tertiary, graffian, these follicles can form the estrogen, and after ovulation these follicular structures, which is now the corpus luteum, they can form progesterone. The same type of cells will change its biochemical property, and during the 26th to 28th day of the menstrual cycle, gradually, due to absence of FSH and LH, the progesterone production will be less and less, and it will form a rudimentary structure which is known as corpus albicans. So gradually it will form corpus albicans, and it will be degenerated. So this is the structure of the ovum. Now we are studying this portion, it is end. Now we will study the tubes which are associated with the ovum. The tubes are called fallopian tubes, and fallopian tubes have different parts in it. At the frontal region, this is a funnel shaped structure which have finger like projections from there, and these projections are perforated, which is known as ostium, and the finger like projections are known as fimbri. So this is the fimbri. The fimbri, ostium, and the whole funnel like structure forms infundibulum. So this region is known as infundibulum. So infundibulum actually collects the ovum when ovulation occurs. So ovum is collected by the infundibulum. Now after infundibulum there is a ampulla, a swollen region after that, where the fertilization takes place if the sperm is present there. If sperm is not present, the ovum will get out of the body, and if sperm is present at the ampulla, the fertilization occurs after ovulation. So the ampulla is the second portion of fallopian tube. Next, this is the isthmus. So here this portion is the isthmus. Isthmus means the connective, where the both fallopian tubes comes and joins with each other, and this region is known as isthmus. So alternatively, at each menstrual cycle, the ovulation occurs from both the ovaries. So one menstrual cycle, one ovary, and in next menstrual cycle, ovulation occurs from the other side ovary. So there ovary is a paired structure. Two ovaries are present in female body. So these are the tubes, fallopian tubes. After the tubes, the region is known as uterus. So this is the uterus of female body. You can hear the term, it is the most common term, uterus. Uterus have three layers in it: the endometrium, myometrium, and perimetrium. So endometrium is a layer which is sloughed off in each menstrual cycle with its blood, mucus, and different types of cells. So these are the uterus endometrium have two layers. One is epithelium and another one is lamina propria. So the lamina propria and the epithelium is there. The epithelium actually sloughed off during the menstrual cycle or during the menstrual phase of menstrual cycle. And there is the myometrium, which is the muscles which helps in the contraction. The myometrium helps in the contraction of the uterine walls during parturition or during the birth of the baby. So this is the function of myometrium. And another covering is there, which is known as perimetrium. Beside this, there are external reproductive opening, which is known as vagina. A vulva is there, and Bartholin gland is there, which secretes, the Bartholin gland secretes the alkaline mucus-like substances, which forms a lubricating surface, or it acts as a lube or lubricating region during intercourse. So these are the female reproductive system structures. Different type of structures are there. In summary, we can tell that inside that ovary, different types of developing follicles are there, and inside the follicles there are developing oocytes are there, and with the help of hormonal regulation, the ovum matures, ovulation occurs, and ovum comes in the ampulla of the fallopian tube, and if fertilization occurs, it's good, otherwise it goes out of the body. So this is the female reproductive system. If you like the video, comment there, press the like button, subscribe my channel, and share with friends. Thank you.